Hello friends, welcome to a new episode of Drishti IAS Editorial Analysis. In this editorial analysis, we do three things. First of all, we link the editorial to the UPSC syllabus. Secondly, we try to understand the key points of the editorial. And thirdly, if there are any key concepts in the editorial which are important from exam point of view, we also discuss that. So let us begin today's editorial analysis.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
We have taken today's editorial from the Hindu and it has come on 14th of July. The title of the editorial is Gains from Rains and it talks about the Indian monsoon. It says, a steady, well-spread monsoon spells good news for farmers and the Indian economy. Now let us look at its linkage with the syllabus. So it links with GS paper 1 where we have geography as one of the important area of the syllabus, and under this it links with Indian monsoon. Also it has linkage with GS paper 3 because monsoon is closely linked with the Indian economy. So after establishing the linkage with the UPSC syllabus, now let us look at its key points. The editorial starts by saying that a steady, well-spread monsoon is good news both for the farmers as well as for the economy. And the recent data which has been made available by the India Meteorological Department IMD, it says that the rainfall during the season has been 14% more than what is usual for the period, and this signifies at the initial stage the prospects of a good monsoon. Though we should understand that the month of June only accounts for about 17% of the monsoon rainfall, and which is received by India during the period spanning from June to September. Also, June is the month when the monsoon sets in, and this process can sometimes get delayed by as much as up to a week. And another important thing to note here is that the monsoon, when it hits the Kerala coast, so there are two branches of the monsoon. One proceeds northwards from Kerala and the other comes from the Bay of Bengal. And these two branches of the monsoon, they converge in the north, and usually this merging of these two branches of the southwest monsoon takes place around July 15th. Also the editorial says that IMD is never forecasting the possible rainfall during June month because of the uncertainties or the vagaries involved in the onset and the pace of the journey. So sometimes monsoon covers the entire country in a very short span of time, while at other times there is a break in the monsoon and it takes a long time to cover the entire country. This year it has done it very fast. In fact, the fastest since 2013. And the editorial says that this year two significant things have happened as far as the Indian monsoon is concerned. First of all, the monsoon set in at the usual date of June 1, and this was unexpected this year because just before the monsoon, the West Bengal and adjoining areas were ravaged by a cyclone, Amphan, and there was expectation by the scientific community that this cyclone would adversely impact the onset of monsoon, especially the branch of monsoon that enters from the Bay of Bengal side. But this has not happened and the monsoon set in at the usual date of June 1. The second factor has been the record pace at which the monsoon has covered entire country. And usually it takes up to July 15, which has now been revised by IMD to July 8. But the monsoon this year has even broken this record and it covered the entire country by June 25th. And this pace has been not seen since 2013. So what has been the consequence of all this? The net result is that there have been more rainy days in June and a fairly even distribution across the country, which is very welcome. And except for the northwest part of India, which is staring at a 3% deficit, the rainfall in east, south and central India has posted surpluses in the range of 13 to 20%. And the editorial says that the good rains in June gives a signal to the farmers to prepare the soil and sow the Kharif crop, for which the most important months are July and August, which account for 2/3 of the monsoon rainfall. And this is also the risky time because during this time sometimes the monsoon goes into break conditions, and prolonged breaks or an absence of rainfall can even lead to drought like situation. So there is always some uncertainty involved with the Indian monsoon. And the editorial says that in spite of the significant improvements in data gathering and technological advancements, the meteorological agencies still cannot reliably forecast the advent of a break or how long it will last. Also, another important thing to note here is that normal rains also obscure the possibility of heavy rains or severe droughts in district over larger areas. So there is a very important need to have very specific forecast, and for which continuous improvements need to be made in the forecast modeling, as right now the forecast is very generalized and spread over a large area, which sometimes misses the possibility of extreme weather events happening in a certain part of the region. Therefore, the editorial suggests that short and medium range forecasts need to be strengthened and effectively communicated to the people so that they can take preventive actions. Also, another important thing to note here is that monsoon has been referred to as India's real finance minister by the former president of India, Pranab Mukherjee, because monsoon plays a very important role for India's agriculture as well as for India's economy. Also, the Indian monsoon is a significant economic event as it accounts for 70% of India's total annual rainfall. And a period of good monsoon means there will be better agricultural production, and it also lifts the rural income, which has a positive impact on the Indian economy as a whole. Whereas in case of a poor monsoon or a bad monsoon, it leads to lower agricultural productivity, rise in food inflation, and lower consumer spending, and it dampens the economic environment. So a bad monsoon is bad for business. So this was all in the key points of the editorial. Now let us look at some key concepts. So in key concepts, first of all, let's have a look at India Meteorological Department, also known as IMD. It was established in 1875 and it is an agency of the Ministry of Earth Sciences. This is important and we should remember it. It is also the principal agency responsible for meteorological observations, weather forecasting and seismology. Now there have been some recent changes made by IMD in definition of normal monsoon and onset and withdrawal dates. So the IMD calls a monsoon season normal when the total amount of rainfall in the country between June and September is within 10% plus or minus of the average rain over a long period, which is also known as long period average. And earlier this figure was 89 centimeters and now this has been reduced to 88 centimeters. And this is the important fact for prelims. IMD has also decided to revise the normal onset and withdrawal dates for the monsoon in some parts of the country from this year, as it was being seen that there has been considerable shift in the days on which monsoon was expected to arrive in these places. So the IMD has made the necessary corrections this year. Now the 4-month southwest monsoon season, which begins from June and ends in September, accounts for 70% of the country's annual rainfall, and it officially begins on June 1st with the onset over Kerala coast and ends on September 30. And it takes about a month and a half after onset on the Kerala coast to cover the entire country and begins withdrawing around September 1 from the country. Although the June 1 date for the onset of monsoon is unlikely to be changed, but the dates for onset in many other parts of the country will be revised. And effectively the monsoon is now expected to have later arrival and withdrawal dates in most parts of the country. And why was this revision needed? So the main reason behind this is the change in precipitation patterns that have been taking place over the last many years. As in the last 13 years, only once has the onset over the Kerala coast happened on June 1st. Similarly, the commencement of withdrawal has happened in the first week of September only twice during this period, and last year the withdrawal started as late as October 9 and was completed in around just a week. Normally, the withdrawal is more gradual and the onset is rapid as far as Indian monsoon is concerned. But there have been variations seen over the years. Finally, let us look at the Indian monsoon, the types and the mechanism. So the term monsoon, as we all know, has been derived from the Arabic word mosim. Also, sometimes it is said that it has been derived from the Malayan word called monsoon. Both mean season. And the meaning of monsoon is the seasonal reversal of winds. And India receives southwest monsoon winds in summer and northeast monsoon winds in winter. And southwest monsoon is formed due to intense low pressure system formed over the Tibetan Plateau, and southwest monsoons bring intense rainfall to most of the regions in India. Whereas the northeast monsoon is associated with high pressure cells over Tibetan and Siberian plateaus, and northeast monsoons bring rainfall to mainly southeastern coast of India, basically southern coast of Simandra and the coast of Tamil Nadu. So this was all in today's editorial analysis. Let us look at some of the questions that can be asked in prelims and mains related to this topic. So in prelims, one can be asked about monsoon. So one should be clear about the geographical concepts surrounding monsoon. What are the factors which give rise to monsoon? What are the types of monsoon in India? So we have the southwest monsoon, which has two branches, and then we have the northeast monsoon, also called the retreating monsoon. Then a question can also be asked about IMD, India Meteorological Department. It forms part of which ministry? So it forms part of Ministry of Earth Sciences. Then there can be questions asked on the changes made by IMD recently about the rainfall. So it has been revised from 89 centimeters to 88 centimeters, the long period average, and some dates which have been revised by IMD. We should also know about that. In mains, the question can be on the role of Indian monsoon, how it impacts the Indian economy and the Indian agriculture. Then also a question can be on the factors affecting monsoon. Then one can also be asked about why there has been a need for revision in the dates with respect to onset of monsoon. So what has pushed IMD to revise these dates? So this was all in today's editorial analysis. We'll see you next time with another editorial. Thank you.